We are back with the news that has been breaking, and that's that President Trump picking Army Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster, shown on the left there, as National Security Advisor. Now, a senior administration official telling NBC, and this is a big point, that Trump will allow McMaster to choose his own team. NBC also reporting McMaster did join the president on the flight back to Washington on Air Force One, and McMaster also intends to stay on active duty while serving in the post. Meanwhile, questions still remaining about former National Security Advisor General Michael Flynn and his contacts with Russia. Vice President Pence is now speaking out, and for the first time, about being misled by Flynn.
I was disappointed to learn that the facts that had been conveyed to me by General Flynn were inaccurate. But we honor General Flynn's long service to the United States of America, and I fully support the president's decision to ask for his resignation.
Trump Chief of Staff Reince Priebus was asked by Chuck Todd on Meet the Press yesterday if he could definitively say that no one on the Trump campaign had contacts with Russian agents.
No, first of all, the answer is no, and we don't know of any contacts with Russian agents. I've talked to the top levels of the intelligence community, and they've assured me that New York Times story was grossly overstated and inaccurate and totally wrong.
Congressman Eric Swalwell is a Democrat from the great state of California. He's also the co-sponsor of a bill to create a bipartisan commission to investigate Russia's role in the 2016 election. Now, this proposed bill has the backing of every House Democrat, plus a lone Republican. Nice to see you, sir.
Thanks for having me on, Greta. First time.
Well, we'll come back, I hope. All right, tell me, you want a commission. What's wrong with there's so many investigations being done by committees on Capitol Hill right now. Why do you want a commission?
Well, that's exactly the problem, is that on Capitol Hill, these types of investigations become politicized. We saw that with the Benghazi investigation. So the best way to do this is to have an independent, bipartisan appointed commission, depoliticize it, declassify the facts to the extent possible, and also debunk in an independent way all of the myths that the president has put out there about the intelligence community's findings. And so the best way to do that is with our bill. And as you mentioned, I'm glad that Walter Jones, a Republican from North Carolina, has jumped on board. And he was one of the first Republicans who spoke out against the Iraq War, if you remember.
All right. So tell me, all right, so this commission, these will be not members of the House or the Senate, right? These are other citizens. They're not politicians.
That's right. This would be full-time members.
As an aside, doesn't that say something about the fact that in order to do an independent investigation, that you have to go outside Capitol Hill? When you talk about bipartisan, you put Republicans and Democrats on a committee. But if we want it to be nonpartisan and fair, we have to go outside?
Yeah, I think that would be best, especially considering the environment there. And we saw this with the September 11 Commission. It was full-time members of the commission who were not elected officials and full-time staff. And I think the key point here, Greta, is that the final finding that was made in the Russia intelligence report is that they intend to do this again. And I think if we're concerned about our democracy going forward, we have to assure our constituents, the American people, that we're going to do everything we can to not let this happen again. So let's take it off the Hill and get to the bottom of what happened and what we can do to protect future elections.
All right, who do you want to pick these people? I'll pick them, but who do you want to pick them?
Yeah, you can pick them, but this allows both Republicans and Democrats in Congress to pick the members.
Have you talked to Leader Pelosi about this, your Democratic leader?
Yes, she's fully supportive. I also went down to Indiana and I talked to Lee Hamilton, former member who was the chair of the September 11 Commission, and he gave me a lot of good ideas, and he really stressed the importance that this be bipartisan and give the commission as wide of allowance they could possibly have to follow the evidence wherever it may go. And I think that's what's important right now.
What did Leader Pelosi say when you told her you wanted to go outside Congress to try to have this investigated with an appointed bipartisan commission?
Well, she agreed that because what we saw with Benghazi, it had become so political that the best way to get to the bottom of what happened was to take it off of Capitol Hill. So she's fully behind it, and she's one of the supporters.
I guess, I'm still hung up on the idea, like, I guess it's really disappointing that in order to get a fair investigation, the people that we elected and that we already pay their salaries to, is that they can't do an investigation with the sense of confidence and completeness and fairness.
And I'm on the Intel Committee in Congress. We're doing our own investigation, but I think because this crosses over into so many different committees in Congress, if you don't have people full-time committed to it, we're not going to get the answers. And as you said, it's unfortunate, but we need to get more Republicans on board right now because too many of them are putting party ahead of country, and this is a moment in our history where the American people and other countries are looking at what is the United States going to do.
Although I would say that, that whether they put party in front of whatever you said it was, is that there are at least four investigations being done by 4 different committees led by Republicans. So it's like, they are doing investigations. It's not like they're saying no. They are conducting investigations.
Right, and 2 of those investigations are going to be largely classified, and I want the American people to know as much as possible about what happened, how we were so vulnerable, and again, assurances that this isn't going to happen again.
I'm totally with that, because so much gets classified, too, in this city that I don't think needs to be or should be classified. I think the American people ought to be able to know more. But anyway, thank you for joining us. Hope you come back.
Thank you, Greta.
Thank you. Before we take